$15 silver or $50 silver? What if the economy is not as good as they are telling us? We're going to take a look at jobless claims information. We're going to take a look at net savings information. CNBC gives us a big report on corporate defaults, Blackstone, and a commercial real estate project that has gone bad. But what do we know right now? Here's what we know, guys. The Fed has paused. How will that affect the price of metals as we head into the rest of 2024? The Fed has paused on interest rate hikes. Lower interest rates, lowering interest rates is good for the price of the precious metals. $15 silver or $50 silver. I still say, and I don't know how you feel, but doesn't it feel like $50 silver is more in the cards than $15 silver? So the Fed has paused. We also know that the next move out of the Fed is very likely to lower interest rates. That's pretty much been telegraphed, okay? We know that's going on. We know silver and gold have been manipulated. I've talked to a couple people, high-level people, about what went on during that Sunday night smashdown. I hear all types of theories, but everyone agrees that there was some massive selling and that the price of silver and gold are manipulated now and have been manipulated for a number of years, and that in the end, true market forces, true price discovery will occur. Sorry. Somebody was trying to call me on my phone. Interesting. Let's look at what else do we know? What's the other big thing we know? We know that the amount of debt that the United States, Japan, that Europe has is unbelievable, untenable, okay? This does not end well. And this is the key for silver and gold. Out of this chaos comes order, and silver and gold are the order. Does that make sense to you? If you look back over history, what has always provided order and organization in times of chaos? Silver and gold. They're like the steady eddy, steady force that can bring prosperity, can bring peace to the world. You know, I don't know, maybe that's getting a little bit out there, but don't we want peace? I'm sure you're a type person who wants peace, okay? Yes, they're honest. And some of us like to refer to silver and gold as God's money. Let's quickly say thank you to channel sponsor Fortuna Silver Mines. Here's their latest press release came out this morning with their production numbers for the fourth quarter. They had record gold equivalent production at 136,000 ounces. Record gold production, so that was gold equivalent, record gold production at 107,000 ounces. And they produced 1.3 million ounces of silver. You can learn more. You can read the full press release at Fortuna's website, fortunasilver.com. Let's dive into the jobless claims. That was the big number this morning, okay? Does this make any sense to you? To me, this is not making any sense whatsoever. But here's what we know, okay? Bear with me here. Jobless numbers come out this morning, and what we hear is that there was a record low number. Boy, I'm having a hard time this morning. A record low number of people applying for first-time jobless claims. Okay, basically, everyone is perplexed. Why are the employment numbers staying so good? Do you know why? I think I know why. The employment numbers are so good, right? Because nobody can leave their job. People are desperate for money. People are desperate, right, to pay their bills, their home insurance, their car insurance, the grocery bill, the electric bill, all of that. So are the jobs, is the jobs number that pertinent to what's really going on in the real economy for real Americans? Granted, these numbers are quote unquote good, right? But do you really think they're good? Do you really think the economy is that healthy? Let's look at some other big factors, right? And as this economy slows and the economy encounters more and more issues, we will see more liquidity. We will see more money printing. We will see much higher silver and gold prices. Hold on here. Let's talk about net savings. This comes from Zero Hedge. Yet another recession red flags. Net savings is negative. Okay. Net savings as a percentage of gross national income has been negative since the first quarter of 2023. That would be 1 year ago. The current period of negative net savings is only the third time that net savings has gone negative in the last 75 years. Okay, so we've got negative net savings right now in the United States, right? People aren't saving money. People don't have money. Let's go back to the jobs numbers. The people are afraid to leave their jobs. It's a very precarious situation. What about corporate defaults? Let's touch on that. CNBC tells us, right? More good news. I got more good news for you about the economy. Corporate debt defaults soared 80% in 2023 and could be high again this year. Do you think it's going to get worse in 2024? Because in 2023, we just started to see the impact of higher interest rates on debt, right? On corporate debt. If you owe $100,000 and you're paying 3% interest and suddenly you have to refinance and pay 8% interest, it doesn't take Albert Eisenhower to realize that your interest expense is skyrocketing, and that's what's going on with corporations. 80% increase in corporate defaults. The number of companies that failed to make the required payments on their debt totaled 153 for 2023, up from only 85 a year before, an increase of 80%. Quote, in 2024, we expect further credit deterioration globally, predominantly at the lower end of the rating scale. That came from our friends at S&P. Okay, let's go to BlackRock and commercial real estate defaults. We know that is a big bomb heading in the direction of the U.S. economy. Blackstone, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. I'm reading you this from the New York Post. Blackstone defaulted New York City office tower loan is up for sale at a 50% discount. Okay. Blackstone defaulted on the $308 million mortgage on a Manhattan office tower more than a year ago. And now the debt is up for sale at a discount of more than 50%. Special servicer, Midland Loan Services was hired, blah, blah, blah. So they're basically trying to sell this for $150 million. What's crazy about this, the skyscraper has been losing value since 2014, when the mortgage was originated and was appraised to be worth $605 million. That means between 2014 and today, if my math is correct, that Manhattan office tower has lost almost 75% of its value. And that's indicative of what is going on all across the country in the commercial real estate sector. Now, that's a pretty extreme example, but if you have commercial real estate that's lost 20, 30, 40, 50%, or 75% like this, that is not a good sign in terms of what's heading toward bank balance sheets and towards the banking sector in 2024. Again, any of these crises that pop up could create a situation where the Fed has to react. Because remember, they react quick, right? Remember the little banking crisis just under 1 year ago? How quickly the Fed started the BTFP, the Bank Term Funding Program? A bailout by any measure, money printing by any measure. They're kind of like, we've used this analogy before, right? Because we're talking about the real value of the dollar. But the Fed is oftentimes like a firefighter who is, in one hand, has a fire extinguisher, and in another hand has a fan fanning the fire. So we're going to stay alert to what's going on out there. The economy is not looking good. Okay, what about the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index? The Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, we got that this morning. It fell more than expected to a negative 10.6 reading versus a forecast of only negative 6.6. Now, this was not as dire as the Empire State reading we received earlier in the week, which showed horrific numbers, right, from the New York Fed, but still a sign that manufacturing continues to struggle. And what about Google, right? What about the big tech companies? They're like the saviors of our economy. Tech is the future, right? What are we hearing from Google today? News. Google is warning of more job cuts this year. In a memo to employees, CEO Sundar Pichai warned that cuts may be necessary for the company to reach its ambitious goals this year. Everywhere we look, what does it mean when we hear about layoffs, right? Especially at the big tech companies. Amazon did some layoffs. Google's doing some layoffs. We're hearing more and more. Citigroup is laying off 20,000 people. Listen, think about this. If you're working at Citigroup, making $95,000 a year, great health insurance, 4 weeks vacation, right? You work from 8 to 4 every day. Maybe you work from home. Suddenly you don't have your job at Citigroup anymore. I guarantee you it's not going to be easy for you to run out and find another job. Now, I don't wish bad on anyone. It's heartbreaking in what families could be dealing with here. But the reality is, right, there aren't going to be other major good jobs for a lot of these people at companies like Citibank or Google when they leave. These people at Google, have you ever read about how they get what their job is like and like seen what their offices are like? They get catered lunches, they have workout rooms. I mean, anyone who gets laid off from Google is going to have a rude awakening, most likely. I could be wrong, right? But they're going to have a very rude awakening if they go back into the job market and see what the real world has to offer. I have a feeling it's not going to be as a comfortable of a work environment as most people at a place like Google are used to, or Citigroup for that matter. Right? We don't want bad things to happen, but when we put this all together, right, the savings rate going negative, the corporate defaults, layoffs, Blackstone, right, looking to get 25 cents on the dollar on a commercial real estate property, it's not looking good. And retail sales were great, right? We got that number, earlier in the week. December retail sales numbers were great. Hey, before I do that, please, guys, please give this a thumbs up. And please subscribe to the channel. It helps us, and thumbs up are a great way for us to let YouTube know that you're enjoying the content, and we will get it out to more and more people. So please press that thumbs up. Thank you. We appreciate your support as always. Okay. What about CBDCs? Did you hear what presidential candidate, this is not a political show, I always have to throw that in there, but did you hear what presidential candidate, former President Donald Trump had to say? On Wednesday, he vowed to never allow the use of a CBDC, central bank digital currency, as it would, quote, give the government absolute control over your money. This would be a dangerous threat to freedom, and I will stop it from coming to America, is what he said. We are also going to put in place strong protections to stop banks and regulators from trying to debank you for your political beliefs. That will never happen while I'm your president. He said that to a crowd of people in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and was first reported by an organization called the National Pulse. So we have presidential candidates now. It's becoming a presidential subject matter, this idea of CBDCs. It's the first I've heard of this, right? That we have a presidential candidate coming out saying, no way, I am not going to stand for the implementation of CBDCs. Hey guys, we got 100 thumbs up. Let me give you some rings. We got 10 rings of the bell. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much. Hey, are you looking to buy some silver, gold, or platinum? If you're shopping around, check out channel sponsor Pimbex, Pimbex. Pimbex is an online bullion dealer. It's a company I've worked with. I worked with them before they sponsored the channel. You can get silver, gold, or platinum. You can also get ultra competitive prices and a company that I believe you can trust. right? You need to do your own background checks, your own work, but I can tell you that from the overwhelming response from people in Ron's basement who have used Pimbex to buy silver and gold, that I've received nothing but positive feedback. So next time you're looking to get some silver, gold, or platinum, be sure to check out Pimbex, Pimbex, Pimbex. I love to say it, I love to spell it, and I love the fact that when I go to Pimbex, I get more money, more metal for my money. I always mix that up. You don't want more money for your metal. What you want is more metal for your money. Thank you. Thank you, Ron McAdams, for the super chat. You guys are awesome. Man. All right, guys. So is everything great out there? Doesn't it feel like, right? Like everything is great out there in the economy. But then when we think about what's going on with Google laying off people, Citigroup laying off people, when we think about, oh, retail sales were great, right? But what they're forgetting to tell you is retail sales were only great because there's been an explosion in this new way for people to borrow money. Buy now, pay later. You see, people don't have room on their credit cards anymore. People don't have money in their savings accounts anymore. No, now what people do is a program called Buy Now, Pay Later. That's exploding. So is the economy really all that great? Look, at the end of the day, we're going to have difficult times in the United States in real terms, right? People trying to pay their bills, people trying to get along. It's going to manifest itself, and when it does, the Federal Reserve is going to have no other option but to come on and print more money. Look, no matter how you slice it or dice it, no matter how you look at it, unfortunately, the value of the U.S. dollar will continue to depreciate, continue to be diluted. We know the statistic that since 1971, when you compare the dollar to gold, the dollar has lost 98% of its value. Look, it's not anything that you caused or I caused. It's just the situation that our leadership has put us into. We're going to continue to stay on top of things. We're going to continue to keep a close eye on what's going on. I'll be here for you every step of the way. Thanks for being here today, and I'll see you next time.